Hello and welcome to the channel. We're here today. Oh, and we're just watching someone going in a pit, so we'll switch cars there. We are here today commentating over a race for a racing team, Italian racing team, the Monkey Racing team. Got a request. Hello and welcome to the channel. We're here today. Oh, and we've just ignore that. Apologies for hearing myself back there. But yeah, today we are commentating over a race. Just got a request through on Discord asking to cover another commentator. So we're looking at a race at a Maggiore here, track created for GT Sport itself. So not a real world track. A track I actually really do enjoy racing on. Nice wide track with loads of overtaking opportunities. Today we're going to have 9 races on the track, and they're going to be racing. They're going to be racing a 10-minute qualifying session, and then after that we're going to be going into the race. This is the second round of a 6-round series, and yeah, it's going to be interesting trying to commentate over this. We're going to be skipping over trying to find the places where all the action's happening. At the moment we're just going in free practice, and qualifying should be starting in the next few minutes, I believe at 25 past the hour, so it should be starting qualifying up in about 5 minutes or so. And we can see car number 4, position number 4 there, running a little wide on his practice. It's going to be interesting to see what qualification strategies people go with. We are running with tyre requirements on this one, so we're running on racing soft tyres for today's race. And it looks like with the number of pits we've got, we're going to have mostly people running in on a 1-pit strategy, but we might see a few people deviate from that, so we'll keep an eye on the race. I do have the standings from round 1, so we'll have a quick look at them now. So this is the standings as they were from round 1. Apologies for any pronunciations issues here, but we're going to call the person in position 1 a Koenig. I think that's probably the best one. People feel free to correct me in chat. But he won round 1 with 12 points total. Then you got Fab with 11 points, Mirko with 10 points, Donald with 9 points, Colleone, I apologies for any mispronunciation here, but with 8 points, Alex with 7, Garo with 6, Matt with 5, and we have 3 people who didn't participate in that last round. So I do actually have keyboard short because I've never used spectator view before, so it's going to be a little bit of a learning exercise for myself. But if I press this button here, we should see who's currently in the session at the minute. So we've got 8 racers at the moment who are registered in for this qualifying session. And let's get rid of that ranking board so we can have a look, and as we wait for the qualifying session to start up. So I'm joined by co-host today, the lovely Patrick McCall, aka EchoWolf, aka Grizzly Beautiful. And he's joining me today just to give me a bit of company and just provide a bit of co-commentary. Say hello to the lovely people there, Mr. Paddy.
Hi Rob, lovely to be here with you on this sunny day.
Yeah.
In Maggiore. Very excited.
Well, ironically enough, there's actually storms in Italy at the moment, and I was talking to the guys on Discord about an hour or two before the race, and they were close to calling off the race due to the fact because all the storms is interrupting all the internet and all the servers and stuff, and it would have been the first virtual race I'm aware of that's been called off due to weather conditions. So please, it's going ahead anyway.
Yeah, I'm glad that we're here. I'm glad that we're racing.
Yeah,
I'm excited to see what the team have got to offer.
Definitely. I mean, it's not I have to admit, it's me personally. I've been playing GT Sport just on the sport mode, so that's just like the general sport mode. It looks like we're going to be starting off now as people wish each other good luck on the race. So we'll be starting the qualifying a session really shortly, and we'll hop on board with some people as they do some of their fast laps and see what we can do. But normally when you play GT Sport, you're just sort of matching up, and like I have to admit, I really like the matchmaking system on GT Sport, how it matches like your driver rating and your safety rating and treats them as 2 sort of separate things and tries to match people as closely. So your general racing is people as clean as you are, but also racing in general as fast as you are in general, but it doesn't always work like that. But I think the end goal is to join a private team, and you kind of do these private races where I've heard along the communities and stuff, so you're joining a team and being part of a team is normally the best way to get the best racing out of these sorts of games. So yeah, it's going to be something that I probably do have a look into at some point, but For now, I'm just enjoying just getting into the rankings on GT Sport and taking part in the FIA series. But yeah, it will be interesting to see a race that's taken part. And you can see now that the qualifiers has just been triggered, so we should be starting that in a few moments now. Now, I have to admit, from the top of my head, I don't remember how many laps the actual race is today, so I'm going to have a quick look at my notes. So I'm going to praise myself of important information that I probably should have prior to the race. But we are racing in GT4's a Nissan GTRs this week, as people just coming out now for their out laps. So we're going to see some nice slow laps here. People just sort of warming up their cars, but trying not to run through the tyres. Because what happens here is basically your out lap does not count as a lap itself. So what you need to do is you basically just need to warm up your tyres a little bit, but you don't want to warm them up so much that they start to wear down and slow you down going into your fast lap. So normally when I do this, I just take it nice and easy around your first lap, and then when you get towards the end of the last few corners, then you just sort of sit back a bit and build yourself a nice big gap between yourself and the guy in front of you. But it looks like we've got the entire grid out here, a little bit of carnage back here, so let's have a little look back a bit further back in 7th and 8th. People just trying to find their own track positions as we drop on board now. Oh, looks like everyone's gone back into pit, so we must be having an issue with the race. And I think they'll be doing a reset. A common bug in GT Sport in the lobbies, if people are aware of this. And sometimes you start the qualifying session and some people don't get a chance to start properly. And we normally have to reset the game. So it looks like that's what's happening here. So apologies, it looks like we've got off to a bad start. So we're going to wait for the race to reset.
And Rob, what would you say makes a really good sort of qualifying lap in GT Sport?
Qualifying
what do they have to think about when they're out there?
I know it sounds like a stupid thing, but timing's so super important in terms of being able to get the fastest lap, or be able to just do your best lap that you can do, and matching up with your practice. I mean, consistency is always really important, obviously, because you need to be in your practice, not be able, it's one thing to be able to hit a 202 or whatever time you're trying to hit, but it's not about just hitting that 202 once. It's being able to hit that lap after lap after lap after lap. So when you come into your qualifying, you can hit that 202. That's a really, really important part. So we're just waiting now as people are just getting the message to restart. So everyone just needs to quit out, and it will bring them back into the menu. And you can see this person's now gone into the menu. So now hopefully we should be dropping out now. Got a couple more people who need to drop out the race, but at the moment not much going on. They're going to have to restart the race session, so apologies for our bad start, but we will have our qualification underway. But yeah, as I was saying, Paddy, when it comes to qualies, your most important thing is about timing, getting your fast lap in. Normally strategy most people use is you normally do something called a banker lap. So like your first fast lap you do, but you kind of do your conservative lap where you're not going to spin off anywhere, so you sort of make sure you get a decent time in that might not be your fastest, but it's still, it's going to get you on the grid somewhere. And then you've got a choice there, which is you either try and do a fast lap on your next, try and go even faster on your next lap and just keep getting faster and faster, or you come into the pit, swap tyres, get a fresh tyre, and you normally have the opportunity to do one more lap, and that one you can really push if you've already got yourself a banker lap in. So that's the sort of a few different approaches you can take to a qualification, especially when you're, doing these quick, 10-minute kind of like sessions where it's not quite like real racing, where they get like a whole hour and it's a lot more strategical. But there is a certain amount of a strategy to it. So looks like everyone's been kicked from the room, so it looks like they're just going to restart the room. So apologies, everyone. We will get this underway, assume, as the servers sort out their life. So we're just going to wait for a mo and give them a chance to reload up the race as we track it down, and we'll be back and bring you the race very shortly.
Something I've noticed from watching your videos is that you never, well, I mean, don't say never, but quite often you don't quite hit your best practice time in your qualifying.
Yeah, I can often be somewhere between half a second to 2 seconds behind it. It can happen, and normally it's just due to the fact that maybe you just, like, I remember on my last race specifically, my first two laps, and I was just trying to do the banker laps. I span out, and once you've done two spin outs, I've got a choice. Is either I do, every time you spin out, your tyres wear, really, really badly, a lot more than anything else. So we've got a party invitation here. Don't think he realises I'm currently in a party. So I think they're probably getting a bit frustrated that they're getting people probably join their race that aren't part of it. Maybe that's part of it. So we're going to have to disappear from Paddy for a moment, and I'll join this party and find out what's going on. Paddy, I will be back for you, I promise.
I shall miss you.
But we will be back for you. Although I have no idea how to use PlayStation, and I don't know where my notifications go. There we go. We're just joining another party at the moment.
Sul nostro caro e amato
ArbieG si è unito al party.
Oh cazzo, è entrato
Ci
nel
parli
party.
tu, Donald.
So,
Chi è che
Vai
sa
Donald!
l'inglese?
Veneto, mi raccomando.
right, what are we gonna?
Hello boys!
Ma
I have no idea how to mute this.
hai mandato
Oh
l'amicizia.
raga, a questo mo chi lo caccio?
Ok.
Non lo sentiamo neanche.
Do.
Boh, vediamo durante la gara.
Dai, spostati.
Okay.
Comunque se ci parla in Veneto lo capisce sicuramente.
Ma lo posso espellere dal party?
No, così pensa che ce l'abbiamo con lui.
Ma che ho mandato l'amicizia adesso. Ok, adesso si è unito.
Ma è
Ok.
rientrato in stanza?
Perché
Lui?
io non lo sento
Ma
parlare.
mi sa che, se non mi ricordo male, se una lotta di butti fuori uno non puoi più rientrare. Questo non può più
No,
rientrare.
no, ma non l'ha buttato fuori Donald.
Sì che l'ha buttato fuori.
I am
Sì.
not on micro. Oh, great. I just wanted to check. I haven't said anything because I didn't realise I was on micro. I'm going to turn down the audio on the game so we can still talk to each other. So I'm just going to turn down the audio because, quite honestly, I don't speak Italian, so I don't actually know what these people are saying.
Vediamo se si è
But I'm
connesso.
sure they're just trying to work through the issues at the moment. So I've just turned them down for the mo. So we can wait until we know what's going on, and then we'll go from there. Apologies for the delay, guys. Like I said, just trying to sort things out and work out.
Silver elves are working as hard as they can.
How did I just hear Paddy's voice?
Because I'm talking to you through your computer.
I just realised that.
I can't see the game anymore, Rob, but I'm still here.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realise you were here still in voice. I just assumed we were at a party, but we are obviously, yeah.
Okay, we've got a message on the YouTube chat saying
Yeah.
the room changed host. It's now Fab. If that'll help you to find it.
Yeah, probably. I'll limit it by the track. I'm sure I'll be able to spot it. But I will drop myself out of this party in a second.
They're remaking the room.
Cool. Here it is here. Okay.
And if you can set SharePlay up again with us, then I can...
Yes, I am
Thanks.
going to drop out this party. I hope they understand why I'm dropping out, so I can share play with somebody else. So, good luck, guys. I don't think they can hear me. I don't know what you'll hear me on the stream, but good luck, guys, on your race.
And if they have any issues, they can just pop it in the
yeah.
YouTube chat. And we'll see it there.
I'll put that in chat as well. Okie dokie. So let's get you back in, Mr.
Bring it back.
Paddy. we will let Paddy rejoin the party, then we'll just quickly activate the share play so he can watch what's going on as well, because unfortunately go to party screen, and let's just quickly turn on the share play.
Have an invitation.
There we go, and let's go back to spectate mode. So we're back now. I'm gonna assume everyone's gonna have a minute or two just to get themselves situated, and they're gonna start the race off straight away. So as people just get out on the track, just do a little bit of warm-up practice prior to the race. So apologies everyone who's viewing this, waiting for the race to start. As anyone who's played GT Sport will appreciate, sometimes it can be a bit of a bugger to get a private race started. Like I said, this is a little qualification bug where you press the accelerator to get out of the pit stop, and your car just seems to go around in circles and never gets out the pit lane, which is frustrating. Unfortunately, I've never experienced it on a ranked game or an FIA game, but yeah, it does happen quite a lot in the privates.
Happens a lot in the privates.
Quote of the day, I feel.
Words to live by.
Words to absolutely live by, yeah. So let's get up the information so we know who we're looking at here. It looks like Danilo is going, so we're going to follow someone else. We're going to follow our current leader of the series.
So Rob, while you've been busy fixing things, I've been getting a bit of information up about the area where this racetrack would be.
Oh, okay.
If it were a real racetrack.
Okay.
So
Shoot.
Lago Maggiore is a real place.
Okay.
It's northern Italy, one of the largest lakes in Italy. It's by the Alps, also on the border of Switzerland, which is where I was born, but the other side of Switzerland. From
Homeland.
Yeah.
So the qualifiers got away again. Let's see if people get away to a better start this time. So everyone's going to try and come out of the track. You can see what's happened there. You see how all these people are just crashing all over the place. This is what I mean with bugs. But it looks like, are we getting everyone out? Let's just pop back through the grid and see what's happening here. We've still got I believe that's number 8 there, struggling. So let's see if these guys can get out as well. So at the moment the game's more.
Seeing someone saying exit.
Exit. So it looks like again these guys are going to have to restart. It's not looking positive for the race today, guys. It looks like GT Sport's been very temperamental. Because I use these private races a lot for when I'm doing practice. So, you know, when I'm coming up to an FIA race. Because I want to test to know what the tyres feel like when they start to wear down. And I come up with my pit strategy before I race. So I know exactly when I'm going to pit and how and what. And to do that, the best way to do that is to set up a race under the exact same conditions that you know that you're going to do and run that race. And normally I just sort of leave it open and let people join in, then I hit the start button. You normally get a bunch of people needing, like, asking to restart and stuff. Let's go back to the menu in case us being in spectate mode makes any mistakes happen. But this has not been a great start so far. But hopefully these people can quit out and Alex can back out and we can try again. So the qualifying's been cancelled, so everyone should be able to rejoin now as we go back in. And the conditions have been changed. They've changed the weather conditions. That they normally do that just to reset the lobby. You can see the track is now reloading up. So we're going to try and get this away again, and hopefully everyone can get out of the pit lane and we can get away to a good start. And we're going to go back into our spectator mode and just follow some cars.
Well, Rob, you know I'm here for that hardcore racing, and we've yet to see any of that hardcore racing. So hopefully this is the one.
Yeah, hopefully we can get away and watch some actual racing.
Cars taking corners,
Doing their thing.
slipstream,
Overtaking. Apologies for leaving you on the spot, Paddy, but I am going to have to disappear for literally about 60 seconds. So it's over to you to keep the fellow people entertained for a moment.
That was unexpected, being left all by myself. Okay, looks like the qualifying is going to start. Hopefully everybody managed to get out this time and we get to see people put in their qualifying laps. Nice to actually see some people going for it. Let's see, here we go. Maybe. Maybe. I don't actually play this game very often, so I've not encountered any of these bugs. So hopefully everybody gets out. I don't know how many people total we have in the race, but everybody looks like they're out. I don't know if anyone else is joining. But so far, no messages asking to exit, so this could be the one. This could be it.
Looks like it. Sorry, I'm back, guys.
Yeah, this could be it, Rob.
Looks like everyone's out on track, so it
Get
looks
some
like
racing.
everyone's out on their out lap, so we should be good to go now. So we are back on track now. Apologies, everyone, for the delay in getting started, as I just take my seat, as unprofessional as I am. So
Now, one thing I do know about racing, Rob, is that tyres don't like to be cold, do they?
They do
They don't
not.
like it.
They do not like to be cold.
That's why in the F1 they have nice little tyre jackets, so the tyres can stay nice and toasty.
Nice little sleeves to sit in.
Mm.
So we're going to skip up to the front of the grid now, and we're going to watch the previous race leader do his first lap. I think that's who we're going to watch for the first lap. So we're coming through now. This lovely sweeping right-hand turn. I love this turn when I'm racing myself. A banked right-hander, which you can really like. There's a lot of ways to overtake on this corner, and that's what I quite like about it. That there's quite a lot of ways to defend as well through that corner. But we're going to watch the leader of the previous race come out and do a lap. So we'll switch over to appropriate view when it comes round to the final straight. It looks like we're getting a little bit of lag there from the chap in first position at the moment. Fab. So yeah, before the race, in between the qualifier and the thing, we'll have another look at the standings just before the race starts and see how they compare out against the grid. I'm going to get my shortcuts up again so I know how to hop between different views. But now we're coming round into the lap now, and people are going to start going their fast lap. So let's move across to the hood view and let's watch how this lap is being taken. So this turn here, I normally use my brake marker on the left hand, and you miss the apex a tiny bit there as he now comes round to this hard hairpin on the right. So you need to sit nicely on the inside. We are getting a little bit of lag there from the person in first position. I'm not sure if that's my connection or themselves. But it looks like we're off to a good start on this lap here. As we trail brake slightly down through the right hand side, slip it down to second up to third. So we're in 4-wheel drive car here. Everyone's in the same car, the Nissan GTR Group 4. 4-wheel drive car, so you get plenty of grip going through corners. Shouldn't have to worry about anything slipping out. And looks like this guy's similar brake zones as he sweeps down this right hand side and hitting the apex nicely and accelerating out of the apex very, very nicely there. And we're looking on track for a very nice fast lap here from the previous race leader, Koenigelser. As he now comes around in this section, you can do it flat out if you get it right. It looks like he's got this spot on. He's got loads of room there. Much easier to pull off in a 4-wheel drive car there, going flat out. As we now come down to the long straight, which is the banked right-hander, which I told you before, one of my favourite turns in this game. Absolutely beautiful to take. You can brake really late on here on that black marker. He actually brakes a much later than what I do, so something I can perhaps take away from this race and put into my own. Very, very, very late braking, and actually goes into the turn whilst braking. So through here, we can get through here flat out. I believe the last time I was doing this, I might have been in GT3 cars, which are slightly faster as well, so perhaps that's why some turns might be slightly different. But we have done this in a GT4 Veyron before, and it is a very, very similar car, the Nissan GTR. As we're now coming around now to the last couple of turns, should be able to go flat out now down to the bottom of this hill, where you just need to apply a little bit of brake going into the left-hand turn. We're around about this 50-metre marker. Yeah, a little bit of light braking, slip down to 90, slip down one gear and onto full throttle, which looks like he's got that absolute spot on there. So let's see if this is a good lap to start us off, as he comes in now with a 205.9, so not quite as fast as the chap in front, Fab, who's managed to come in with a 205 flat. So we're going to jump to somebody else now. Let's go a bit further back through the grid and watch somebody else. So we're going to slip now to Garu. What is the button to bring up the player's name? I saw that. It's F12. I'm going to press that every time I swap car. So we're now with Garu, who's actually come in to swap his tyres. So we're going to switch to somebody else. Probably felt like he didn't get a great lap there. As actually J212 has actually run the best section. Anytime you see a purple marker on the map, that means they run the fastest section of the lap so far, so definitely worth watching through this one. As he's about halfway through his lap now, his first out lap. He's about 6 tenths, maybe 7 tenths of a second in front of the race leader at the moment. So we've come to the right car here as he's come through the bank right-hander. Again, really nice and late on the brakes there, able to get through there. Probably not the most ideal line through that, but he's managed to salvage it and keep on the track absolutely fine. So we've got about 4.5 minutes left of this qualifying session remaining. A lot going on at the moment. We've got a bit of a grid at the top, quite similar to the last race, but now J212 is making his move, and it looks like he could be on track here for a nice pole position in this race. As he now comes down to the final couple of turns in this lap. Like I said, you should just be able to go flat out down here, break around the 50 marker, and trail brake down into this left-hander, which he's got that again spot on. Accelerating. Maybe could have gotten the accelerator a little earlier and claimed himself a couple more tenths of a second, but it looks like we definitely have a nice race lead there. A good, 1.3 seconds ahead there. Definitely got ourselves a time to beat now. So we're going to slip back. Do you want to watch someone's lap? Which other one of those names on the left takes your fancy, Paddy?
Let's go to the Donald.
Let's go to Donald. So Donald, we're going to watch Donald now as he comes around to this last couple of turns on this lap, and we're going to watch him and see if he can pull himself up. He's about half a second behind Danilo in front of him here, so he's definitely got room he can make up here. His current lap time looks as to 2:15, so he's not managed to run a clean lap yet by the looks of it. So he just needs to get a clean lap in, as he actually gets taken by Alex there. Overtaking there just on the thing, so it's going to be hard for him because he's going to have to be careful on his braking, and he's actually made a bit of contact with Alex there. I have to admit, in terms of racing etiquette and stuff like that, you shouldn't really be overtaking people going through into the first corner, but I do appreciate we're looking at a qualifying session that's only got 2:50 left, and sometimes the etiquette goes out the window when that's the case. So there is a common qualifying etiquette which you try and afford yourself and others as much space as possible, which you can only do to a certain extent. So as we come now to this sleeping right-hander, as looks like Alex in front of us has run wide there, but we're staying on board with Donald now, who is running a decent lap here. Let's see if he's beating his time next time we come to an end of a section. Should tell us at least if he's beating his current time, but he's got himself in a bit of trouble here because he's got himself parked behind Alex here. And looks like J212 come off wide there, her current race leader. So he's going to have to let people come past him who are doing their fast laps, and he's now on a slow lap. So you can see Donald here has improved himself by 1/10 of a second, so he is slightly ahead, but not enough to be able to gain a position. He's needed to shave a little bit more time off, but again, with the traffic in front of him, might be quite hard to do. So we don't, he's run himself a 2:07.4 is his current best time, and definitely can grind a little bit more time out of that. But again, he finds himself in the pack here, and it might be causing him some trouble in terms of time. Although it does help to a certain extent, because obviously you do get faster speed through picking up on someone's slipstream. But obviously, when someone's not quite racing the same as you, they've got different brake markers, different ways they take turns. That means that sometimes you're going to have to go through turns slower than what you normally would do. So he's coming down now to the final turn of his lap, and we'll skip back and grab someone else in a sec. But let's see if he manages to get a decent time through here. He might be worth sitting in the slipstream, trying to get a few more temps out of this lap if he can. And he's come down now. He has beat his time with a 2:06.2. Not enough to raise him. It looks like Alex, literally, you can see Alex there on the bottom left, literally just set a time at the exact same time. So it's definitely a wide grid at the moment, and it looks like let's skip back down to 9th place. Let's go and look at Danilo, who currently looks like he's taken a slow lap, so probably not worth watching. He's letting Donald come past him and a few others who might be taking their fast lap. So let's go to car number 5, the previous track leader. Actually, we've already done a lap. Let's go with Garu this time. who's just coming into the start of his lap, and it's going to be his last chance to make a lap with only 20 seconds left, so 20 seconds left of the session. So once the timer is over on the session, anyone who's currently running their lap is allowed to finish off their lap, unless it goes over a very, very large timer, I believe. So he should have enough time to be able to see this lap out and see if he can pull himself up and maybe get himself into a top 3 this time. As he's now coming around into these S-bends. Again, you can come out here through flat out, especially in the 4-wheel drive cars. Nice and easy area to come flat out. And he's coming around to this right-hander now. This lovely hairpin right-hander. Like I said, banked right-hander. We're going to see, hopefully in this race today, we're going to see a bunch of overtakes happening here. So there's actually more people in this race. There's actually 10 people in this race. Didn't realise there's 10 people in this race. I thought it was only 9. So we do actually have a 10th competitor running in front of us, which Garu's caught up here with. And again, they might find themselves in a position here where the traffic in front of them hinders the qualifying session. Quite honestly, when I'm doing my qualifying session, I don't even come out the pit to about 45 seconds, 1 minute after the qualifying session start. I like to give myself loads of room. Because not only do you have to account that, you might give yourself a few seconds, but you don't have to account for, if you've got a whole track of people in front of you and, 2 or 3 people slip out, they're going to lose a bunch of time and they could be coming back on the track just where you are and slowing you down. So, qualifying session, you need to give yourself as much room as possible. He looks on the inside and that is actually quite a terrible hit there from Garu. Quite a horrible misjudgment from him there, and he gets the contact, and fortunately it wasn't best lap for him there, because it would have been maybe not a very sportsmanly lap, but yeah, that was quite a hit there on, I believe it was last place, so themselves not setting fantastic lap times, but not a great touch there. Hopefully that comes with some form of apology. That's what I'd expect. But then again,
you can't beat good manners.
Yeah, you can't beat good manners. So it looks like everyone's now in there. Anyone that we see going like this slow means they are no longer running and the game has taken over. So see if we can see if anyone is still running. It's actually first place J212. He's on his final lap, and once he's done, we should be able to close out the qualifying session. Who comes in now with his actual best time of 2:02.8. So definitely leading by a long way there. We've definitely got a race leader there in J212. So before the race loads up,
so is that about an 8-second gap, I think, between?
Yeah, it's a big grid.
10th.
We should be able to see the full grid out here. It should come up in front of us in a little cinematic. Or was there? So we've got a nice mixture on the grid there. Like you said, Paddy, a nice 9-second difference between first and 10th. So a nice spread out grid. We should be able to see quite a few different races taking place. But we're definitely interested about what's going to happen at the top of the grid. As we are on board now with J212 for the race start.
So because he's a private, I guess things like the driver rating and the safety rating, it's just whoever you invite in.
Exactly. It cannot be affected. Yeah, it's whoever you invite. It's not any sort of matchmaking, and anything you do in this race doesn't have an impact on them, on it as well. But everyone's come around now through turn 2, and it looks like we've not got any major incidents now. We're going to skip back through the CAC, and so we can keep a look on it all. As we're now paying our attention on second position, Koenigsegg. He's actually getting attacked from MRT Fab. A little early for the attack in this race. For me, I like to attack a bit further down the line. These turns here are quite hard to get a position, but it's actually the turn they're coming up to now. That
what would you say
like
are the good corners in this?
This one here in particular is a very good one for overtaking. Anything that's got a long way, you can get on the inside. You can get the slipstream through a long straight, get on the inside of them, and just come past them before you get to the corner, or even just come on the inside of them, so they have to concede the place to you. Always the best place. But we're on board now with Fab, who's sitting just behind Koenigsegg, and it looks like J212's got himself a half a second penalty. Must be cutting a corner there, so they might cost them a little bit of time. But in these unranked matches, the penalties don't work quite the same. You can actually just bring your foot off the pedal. It looks like we're going for the attack here, and he's coming up on the inside. He's definitely got the pace on a Koenigsegg. Is it a Koenig Elza? I apologies, but he looks like he's got the overtake nicely there, Fab, and it depends whether place number 3 can get in front of him. This is a really good place to try and defend your position, because you normally, if someone's taking the inside, you get so much more exit speed. So he's sitting just behind him now, and he's looking on the inside there, but he's not going to find that gap. But he's got right in his slipstream here, and it's a dangerous place, but you can also try and overtake here, but it's a very, very dangerous, because people come in on that, and you just get squeezed out on the inside. It looks like he did get squeezed out, and he's going to come round and just apply a little bit of brake. And actually, we don't actually know what he's applying because we don't have the information. Because I don't know the button to show it. It's F10, Rob. There we go. So we can actually see what he's doing at the bottom there. So he's sitting, lost a bit of space there, and he's run a little wide though, so it's going to lose a bit of grip. Be interesting to see what's going on behind him. See, we've got a lot of space, a lot of time being made up here due to that mistake, and he's going to come on the inside and he's going to pick up that position now. Oh, he looks like he's actually been outbroken there. Broken a more efficient braking from Koenigsegg in third there, and it looks like he's going to hold on to his position, but it looks like it's an opportunity miss there for the driver that we're currently sitting in, which I actually don't know who that is. It is Danilo, just missing out on his opportunity there, but currently sitting in fourth place, and it looks like he might have an opportunity coming down into this turn now. He's sitting not in a nice area, didn't get a great exit speed out there, but he might have the opportunity here to try and outbrake, but it looks like he broke very, very early there, and might even press the pause button by the looks of it. But we're going to now just switch back to the cinematic view, and let's have a look back. Now we've got Donald looking up behind Danilo here. It looks like he's managed to get all past him already. Danilo not taking a great line through there and having to concede a position. And it looks like even 6 PIs behind him. We've had another penalty given out to Garu here, who must have been cutting corners going through here. But it's a very, very tight race at the moment across the field. I'm actually going to bring up the track lap again, which is F11. I need to get used to these controls, so we can keep an eye on the track. But you can see we've got a chap in last position at the minute, sitting right far back. But in terms of the race itself, quite a compact places. We've got a lot free abreast here. Garu not finding himself in a great place. Track between Donald and Danilo, who are having a fight, and looks like it's giving him a chance to catch up. And it looks like it is quite a fight going on here between the three of them. Normally a three-person's fight always ends up in someone having to crash, and it looks like we had someone drifting wide. No, it always the way it goes. Anytime I find myself in a three-person fight, I always just sit back a bit and let them fight, and then whoever doesn't win, I try and fight afterwards. It's just not worth it. Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean, like, you can obviously
in a racing game.
Yeah, that's it. So we're going to sit back now with Donald, who's in 5th position, and Garu's run a bit wide there. He's going to lose a bit of time, and Donald, he's actually managed to sit nicely in his slipstream there, still after running wide. And is he going to get an opportunity to overtake? He's going to sit on the inside of him and see if he gets better braking, but it's a very, very hard place to overtake him from, and he's actually come in, made contact there. Probably not a great attempt at overtaking. It looks like, I don't know if he's purposely conceded a position or just run wide there, but he's had to concede up to 2 positions there. Now he's dropped back down to 7th place. So we're going to go up and see what's happening in 1st position. We've actually got quite a sizable penalty here on MRT J212.
So how do the penalties work in this then?
So penalties work slightly different.
You're down automatically.
Yeah, like, so when you're doing it in GT Sport mode, you would have seen it in videos and previous videos and stuff like that you hit a line and it enforces that penalty on you. In this one, you kind of, if you don't do it, you'll just have that penalty enforced on you at the very end of the race. Or if you sort of purposely take a corner slow, it will start grinding down the time. So that's how he's probably had a 1 second penalty, but it's now a 0.9 because he's probably taken a corner a little bit slowly, and it's ground it down for him. So I actually prefer the system they in GT Sport where they enforces it on them, because it feels like it actually, penalties have a lot more impact. But it looks like at the minute he's got himself a nice gap, a 1.4 second gap on the lead there. Even with his penalty, I think he can keep winding down out this race and see if he can build on that gap and develop that gap. But we're going to go back now to where
9 might be having a bit of
where the action is happening, and Garu again right in the thick of it, having a scrap here with Alex. He's gone on the inside, and it looks like he's going to have to go off track, and it looks like he might have to concede this position as well as Alex. It looks like he's got on him, and now he's got Fadiva right on him on the inside again, making a lot of contact there. So he might pick himself up a penalty, and Garu has managed to hold on to his position, but he's having to fight nearly every single corner through this race. But we're going to skip up now to 6th position. Mirko, who is sitting just behind Donald with himself, just under a second gap, so he will be picking up the benefit of the slipstream. The slipstream kind of starts to impact when you're within sort of half a second, or sort of within half to 0.75 seconds. Anything outside of that, you're not picking it up. But at the moment, it looks like the race is now starting to settle down a little bit. Actually looks like second position has actually managed to gain a little bit on first here. He's grounded down a little bit, and now that gap's gone down to 1.2, but it looks like he's even ground back out now to 1.4, so not much is being able to change there. But really looks like the most compact area of the races around here, with Donald in position 5 with Mirko just behind him with a 1 second gap. So it really looks like the race is starting to settle into its own now, and everyone on the grid finding their positions. A few people have managed to slip down a few places, a few people managed to gain a few places, but in general this race is really starting to settle down now. So yeah, it's
something I've noticed from watching your videos is from someone from some outside this world. I'd say occasionally you're quite passive, I think, when it comes to defending positions. Do you think that's just because you're still easing yourself into it, or do you think that's just the smarter move? Because we've seen some aggressive and then some
very aggressive,
as well.
Very aggressive moves. I mean, it's one of those things where I think I'm trying to find my own feet in terms of what is right and what is wrong. And I think the thing that I bear in mind in this game is although it's a very, very good sim racer, it's still a relatively casual game in the sim world market. So you're going to get a lot of those people who don't give a damn. They'll just they just want to get the highest rank they can, and they'll just barge through everyone they can to do it. Here, I am seeing a lot of aggressive moves, and moves I personally wouldn't do, especially on the attacks and stuff, and a lot of dive bombing on the inside. But it is a valid move to do, and it's an awareness of both cars that that someone's about to do it on you, so you can't just turn into him and use your car to block him off, but also an awareness that you can't do it to somebody on every single corner, because eventually you are just going to smash into them. It's one of those things. I think people are a lot more adverse risk when they're in a real car. You know what I mean? It's just because you're not in that real car.
Something I do remember is one of your videos. I think you had one guy who kept coming on the inside and just bumping you out.
Yeah.
And taking the overtake every single time.
Yeah, I think that was on a previous on a recent one, wasn't it?
Frustrating.
Yeah, it was absolutely frustrating, because you end of the day, I remember at the time I was on lap 10 of that 18 race, and this guy's been blocking me for 2 or 3 races. You're planning to do this for the next 9 laps, and then it turns up you got a pile of cars starting to queue up behind you, waiting to take your place, because suddenly, because you're in such a fight with somebody, you're having to over attack and over defend, which means in general both of you are going slower, so it gives the rest of the race a chance to catch up. So sometimes actually conceding a place and letting someone go past you is the best thing to do to actually get in a higher place, as stupid as it sounds, because you're not slowing yourself down, you're going at your pace, and you never know, you might find that half a mile down the road this person's going to slip out or make a big error, and you're going to reclaim that place. But defending a position is just one of those things which I found, from my point of view, is always resulted in the race going bad. Always. So I just try not to do it. If someone's faster than me and has got the pace on me and is genuinely going to get past me, I can fight it for a few turns, but eventually you're going to have to concede it, or else they're just going to get frustrated and smash into you.
Looks like position 1 and 2 might be getting a little bit closer.
Yeah, definitely. He's definitely looks like Fab is really ground down this gap now, looking like he's actually grinding it down a lot now. Let's go on board with him now, as he's really starting to grind down that gap. He's got 0.8 of a second on him. Not quite a slipstream range, but these two have really separated themselves out from the pack now, as you've got a nice 5-second gap between them and the chap in 3rd place. So it looks like these two might be good for their top 2 positions. It looks like Koenigsegg has gone in for the early pit, actually. So it's good.
Actually, on that, we do have a question in the chat from Chairtom. I think that's a name popularized on Chatterbait. He's asking what the tire strategy is going to be for this race. Well, there is a rule in place, isn't there?
Yeah. So tires, I believe there's a very easy one to describe. So they're only allowed to wear the soft tires, the racing softs. So it doesn't have to worry about choices or anything. But in terms of, imagine their fuel levels and the tyre wear, that every car's going to have to pit at least once. And Koenigsegg also looks like he's pitted in early, so might give him an advantage. He's now got the fastest tyres on. He should, in theory, have the fastest tyres on the track, so it'll be interesting to see now if he can really push up on the places in front of him, and by the time they pit, he might have a really, really good advantage. So sometimes pitting early, that 1 lap early, can give you that advantage, because you get these laps now where you're on a brand new fresh set of tyres and everyone's in relatively worn tyres, so it really puts you in a strong place.
Do you think 10 laps is Is it up? Is this one going to have the opposite problem towards
Well,
the end of the race?
You
where
can see
everyone's
here
on
we're gone to Donald.
slightly fresher ones?
Donald here, who hasn't pitted in now. He's in lap 6, and his front 2 tyres are getting pretty worn now. So he will be losing a few attempts of a second per lap, but not enough for me personally that I'd feel the need to pit in. I'd probably run these a couple more laps, maybe looking lap 8 at do it at lap 8 and do it in the dead centre of the race. It might be a fact that the Koenigsegg chap might be going for a 2-pit strategy, so he's got super fresh tyres, but it looks like he's gone for an overtake move there, and it looks like it's a very, very strange place to go for the overtake move, but it looks like he had the line, and he managed to pull that off absolutely fantastically, so he's got himself up 1 position. Again, that's what the better tyres will do for you. It will give you those opportunities, and as soon as someone makes even a slight mistake, you can just put your foot down, and you will have the pace to get past people, especially in a race where everyone's racing in the same cars. But it looks like if we go back a little bit further, we do have some action happening here. We've looked like we're going to go on board with Garrow, who's a little bit behind Alex here, about 1 second behind. So he's running not his great, I was about to say not his greatest race, but I've never seen him race before. But so I have no idea if his greatest race. But definitely probably not his best race, and I'll probably be the first to admit that, knowing him as well as I do.
Great friends,
I know.
old friends. Yeah, a couple of places up. I think we might have somebody else going for an attack.
Oh, great! So we'll move up now. So it looks like Donald's going to try and come on back on the Koenigsegg. I don't think he's got the tyres to do it. He's going to have to come in and pit if he's got any hope of trying to keep up with him. If I was in his position now, I'd try and, if he can get any slipstream he can, but in general, just focus on getting the best track times you can. Don't worry about him. Your race is not with him. You're a pit stop behind that person. Don't worry about it. That would be my advice.
Can you see who's pitted on your radar when you're driving this?
No, I mean you do. I mean,
Donald know.
Yeah, I mean it's not like it's expressly pointed out, but you do get that little view on the left hand side, top left, what we get view, and you get the little P sign every time someone pits in. So you should, I'm relatively aware of it, but it can be quite hard to keep eye on every single person on the track. But this person should have an awareness that this person is pitted in. I certainly would be aware because I am amazing. Garrow looks.
We've got a thank you in the chat from Chair Tom for the insight. You're very welcome. It's always a pleasure to try and help people get into this sport and help them understand how this works.
So Garrow looks like he's going to go on the attack here. He's got this is the best place on the lap to make an attack. He's trying to get a bit of more slipstream there, but he's got him here. And is he going to get the overtake as we're going to slip back now? And you can see how much more he got on him there. And he's got plenty of space, and it looks like he's got the nice overtake. So Garrow's managed to climb himself 1 position back, but we are going to move up a few more positions. And again, we're going to look at Donald. He's slipped a little bit behind Koenigsegg now, 1.4 seconds. Let's go back up to the race leader. So he's still sitting on his penalty, and he's still got Fab, sitting within 2 seconds inside him. These two have been relatively close all race. It's been J212 all the way so far, but depending on what happens with pits, a 1.5 second time gap when it comes to people making pits at different times is not a big gap at all. So we could see something happening at the top here as we come through.
Can you do me a personal favour and just drop back to the guy in 10th? Just give him a little bit.
Of TLC.
Alessio.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit behind the pace in terms of the people he's on the grid here with. And this is probably one of the advantages of the skill-based match matching, that you in general get drawn up with people that are around your pace. He looks like he's coming into pit now. Probably feeling like he's going to need fresher tyres. So he's got a lot of ground to work up. I mean, he's already 13 seconds behind the chap in 9th place. So it's looking like I can't see him doing anything else other than 10th unless someone else has a major mistake in front. He's going to be picking up some fuel there as well. And he's away now with 73% fuel. But
something we haven't seen is really any sort of spills. No one's come off the track. I mean, we might have missed it, but it doesn't look like
These are the
so
four-wheel drive cars.
Okay,
four-wheel drive cars, you've got so much more grip. I mean, you've seen me spin out. Anytime I spin out, it's either because I'm in a mid-rear car, so basically means the engine is in the middle of the car, but the drivetrain, as in the power, is in the rear of the car. So in general, what you get is a car will turn a lot more on a corner. If you try and accelerate too early out of the corner, it will spin because all of the weight's being transferred from one side of the car and to the other too fast, and it will just spin out. Whereas these cars, four-wheel drive cars, the power to each wheel is very equal. So when you put the accelerator down, it hits the power the same on all 3 wheels. In general, gives you a lot more grip and a lot less chance of spinning out. But in general, four-wheel drive cars are slower on tracks. This is why people use the front rear and the mid-rear cars, because they're faster. So it looks like he's coming in now for his pit, and they've both come in for pit at the exact same time. So probably best for J212 we're here really, that they come in and pit same time. If it was me, if I was Fab, even if it was my pit strategy to come in at 8, I would have ran one more lap. Just to break it up a little bit closer. Well, just to change it up a bit, I would have run more lap and really went for it. Went hammer and tongs, even though you would have had the worn tyres. But what would have happened when you come around to the next lap and pitted in throughout the rest of the race, Fab would have had faster tyres than J212. He would have had 1 lap worth of wear less than J212, and he would have had, perhaps that would have been the difference. That has been this a 2-second gap. It could have made the difference, and personally that's the approach I would have gone with, but it is how it is, and I suppose he's gone with the strategy he devised when he first started. But it now puts a Koenigsegg right at the top of the track. Let's go and have a look.
Another question in the chat from Al asking how penalties impact the racing.
Well, it is again a bit different from GT Sport. GT Sport, it just, you hit the penalty line and you incur the penalty there and then. With this, when you're in the lobbies and stuff, you could absorb the penalty by yourself, so you can just come off the accelerator and the time will start coming off, or you can wait to the very end of the race and it will incur it then. So it works a bit differently from what we've seen before. But I am going to very quickly look at my shortcuts, because I can't remember how to get the information up, which is this one here. So we're looking on board at Koenigsegg, who's in first place at the moment, but I don't believe he's pitted in yet. And you can see.
So this one pitted at the earliest, I think. I think this one went in.
Well, I don't know if he has.
6,
he did. You are right, but if you can look at the fuel, he doesn't have much fuel left. He's running on just under quarter of a tank of fuel, so he's definitely going to have to pit at least one more time. Yeah, he's gone for the 2-pit strategy, so it has put him in first place now. But whether or not it's going to play out in the long term, we'll just have to wait and see. As now, let's get the race information up and let's see what's going out there on the grid. As now races have really started to find where their positions are. Definitely a few pit stops and a few switches might happen. Definitely here in the top 3. As I looked like third position run wide there, but he didn't. It might just been a bit of lag there from Fab.
Third position does now also have a penalty, though. I think that's new as well. So both 2 and 3.
Definitely. So it looks like he's got himself a half-second penalty. So it might have again just been that bit of difference that Fab needed to perhaps pit this race towards the end of it. But we're now in lap 10. With about 1/3 of this race left to go. That's quick maths. And it looks like the result is pretty certain here, unless any huge mistakes or any sort of deviation from the current strategy. But J212 is looking in a good place to get himself a win and pull up some points on the board.
So where would you rank this race track in your favorite ones that you've played in?
I really like this. This is in my top 3 tracks. I love this track. It's one of those ones. It's actually the one that I got my DR. I managed to shoot my DR up from like D class to B class. It's this track because I don't know. It's a track that seems to agree with me. I don't know why. And B, I don't know. I just seem any time I've done on it, I've done really well. My very, very first FIA races here, and I think I come in second place, and it was just quite a nice and easy race, and it's always just given me a good impression. And that right-hand turn there that I've just gone past, I love that right-hand turn. It's the best turn in the whole game.
Is that the turn where you can take the wider line and then still come out on top, or is that a different race? It is that one.
It is that one, yeah.
Because that was very impressive in that video, where you clearly behind him with the wide line, and then you just pull ahead. That was a really nice turn.
Yeah, it's like the cut, but it's kind of like it's like defending from an offensive place, because basically, you normally, most turns, if you're defending a goal on the inside, because it's going to get you slower for the corner, but it's going to make you much harder to overtake. But obviously, when you start defending, it slows you down. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. But it looks like he's gone into pit now, Koenigsegg, and we're going to switch now and look at the track lead. So it looks
Tom again is asking who the driver of the day is. I think for me so far it's J212.
Yeah,
started on pole.
Yeah, no,
he led the race pretty much from the off.
He had a good second. I mean, Fab's definitely worth a shout, but bearing in mind J212, qualifying wise, is a good second a lap faster than him according to the pace, but Fab has managed to keep up with him majority of this race. I mean, that gap is starting to build now. It looked like a good 3-second gap that started to develop, and probably did make a mistake by perhaps not just running on his soft tyres for one more lap and just see if he could have changed the dynamic a little bit, because the gap between him and Danilo in third is so big that even if it was a slight mistake, he's, at best he's going to lose 1 second or 2 seconds to third position, with the possibility that he might have gained 1 second or 2 seconds on first place. You know what I mean? So if it was me, it was a gamble that would have been worth taking, and probably one, if he does look back on this race, he might be able to have a think about when he goes back into his next race.
I think I'm going to change my answer and give my driver of the day to Alessio at the back, because I think that's where I would be.
He really speaks out to you.
Yeah, I'd be taking those corners really carefully, just doing my thing,
Yeah, well, it's
getting into anyone's business.
He's arguably run the cleanest race of everybody.
It looks like maybe,
but
is that 7, 6, and 7?
Yeah, 7 and 6. Looks like they're coming close to each other. Looks like little penalties there. I don't know if that's come from a little bit of contact or whether or not that's come from corner cuts. Most of these penalties are going to come from corner cuts. But it looks like this is the closest battle that's happening. About a second gap here between 6th and 7th place, Mirko and Fadiva. Is that is that best place? I was going to say that. Fadiva. In terms of penalty wise, they've actually got the exact same penalty, 0.7. So there's actually no difference between them in terms of that. So it'll be interesting to see how this fight develops over the course of the race, over these next 5 laps as this race runs out. But it certainly looks like, if you look at the rest of the track there, everyone's spaced out enough that the only way people are really getting past each other is through huge mistakes. But it looks like, actually, I just said that now. Look at that in 3rd and 4th place. As now it looks like Elsa is now going to come, and he's coming up right behind on Danilo. So let's go.
Maybe some contact. They both seem to just pick up some penalties. Though.
Yeah, there's definitely penalties there. Maybe there was some contact that happened. This is one of the harder things about trying to keep across our race. It's sometimes a bit hard to see this stuff. Imagine there's a replay system in here that I am yet to work out. But it's
impressive how much you can actually control this.
Yeah, we're
just watching other people race. It's very impressive.
Yeah, you can get a really, really good feel for it, especially when you start using that track map on the top right to really get an understanding of what's going on out there. But at the moment, it looks like he's got himself a 0.6 seconds. So it's a really tight one in here. And it looks like, again, back behind us in 6th and 7th, we've still got a very, very tight race going on back here. It looks like we might even be going for an overtaking opportunity here. Mirko sitting on the outside. So Fadiva's taken the defensive stance, just like I was saying before. Go on the inside and you're more likely to defend your position. You're going to get a much slower exit speed. Yeah, but this is the thing about going on the defense. You get a much slower exit speed. So if you're defending on a turn that perhaps has a long straight afterwards, like that one does have a bit of a straight afterwards, you're going to leave yourself quite vulnerable to overtaking, just like Fadiva was there. And he earns himself a little bit more time penalty. Again, just a lot of corner cuts happening here. But it looks like Mirko's managed to pick up that position, but we've still got a lot of race here to go, another 4 laps, so we could see a lot of still trading position between these two players here. It looks like the gaps now start to develop. Oh, actually I was about to say it's developed between 3rd and 4th, but they're literally on top of each other. So he's put that right back, and Danilo is now going to have a counter-attack against Elsa. Looking on the inside there's no space there whatsoever. No space there. Anything that's going to cause it is a crash. So he needs to be a little bit more careful and choose his times there. And
is that good from Danilo there, just taking the foot off the accelerator just to give a bit of gap?
Yeah, you need to give a bit of space. There was, be honest with you, it was a bit naughty just trying to get on the inside there. There was no way in 100 years he'd ever be able to pull off an overtake there, and the only reason why you would do that perhaps is just trying to hike out your opponent a little bit. If you can do that without making any contact whatsoever, then you're doing pretty well. But
yeah, something I have seen is just the impact on trying to overtake and have on the person you're trying to overtake, but also on yourself, because I think I've seen a few times of watching your videos where you go for it, and rather than getting the overtake, you're the one who gets it wrong. It's a bit excited and ends up
adrenaline, man. It can make a world of difference. You get that burst of adrenaline. I think even again the last FIO race I did, I was in 8th position coming to the last lap. Last 2 or 3 turns I really pulled up against 7th place, and I actually had an opportunity to overtake, and I actually got past him, and I went into the next turn, a turn I'd previously done 18 times before on this lap and not done a single mistake on, and suddenly I drifted wide, and it was all because I had that rush of adrenaline and I wasn't quite concentrating. I was more concentrating on what he was doing. than what I was doing, and that's the number one thing. Always concentrate on what you're doing more than what anyone else is doing, because you can only control what you're doing. You can't control what other people on the track are doing, and that's something you've always just got to be aware of. And this is why, again, especially in these longer form races, 16, 30, 40 lap races, when these opportunities, when you get these packs of 3 or 4 people jostling and smashing into each other, just sit back from it, man. Like, this is a long race in front of you, and you might as well just wait until it's better to perhaps add a few seconds onto your total race time and get past a few people, rather than just trying to over aggressively get past a pack of 4 people and then just get smashed off into the void, and suddenly you're in last place with a 20-second gap.
So I've got a question in the chat.
Yes.
Is damage enabled? I'm right in thinking that there is no damage.
There is no damage enabled. No. GT Sport doesn't often do the damage thing. They use the penalty system to try and curb a lot of the clean racing. But no, the damage is not on. You do get light mechanical damage when you do the ranked races. So if I smashed into somebody, my car would perform badly for about 30 seconds or so.
Okay, so it's more of a punishment than
it's a punishment sort of thing, but eventually your car...
thing.
It's kind of like COD, like eventually your car heals itself. So...
Am I right in thinking that when this game or was it the last one that came out where damage was a big thing that they talked about but never properly implemented?
Yeah, I think it was a GT6
Okay.
that did that. But speaking of different GTs, I'm very much looking forward. It's really good that I've got into GT Sport. I'm really enjoying getting into it, but I've come into the game sort of towards the tail end of its life cycle. You know what I mean? It's been out for a few years now, and now everyone's looking to the next game, GT7, which got revealed at the PS4 event. Not the one just gone, but the very, very first PS4 event. It got revealed then, so for me, I'm quite excited to sort of start GT7 and start that from scratch, alongside everyone else, rather than coming into a game really late.
With that ray tracing.
Stick ray tracing, bro.
Bro.
But no, I'm really excited for GT7.
I think if we drop back a couple of races, it looks like there's something happening.
Oh yeah, you've good spot there. We've got number 7th position there. But again, Fadiva and Mirko.
Close people are on the map.
It can be, but we've got a 0.8 tenths of a second. It looks like he's definitely got the speed on him here. Look how much faster he's in here. Look at that gap grinding down. 5 tenths of a second. He's managed to claim himself 3 tenths through one corner, and he's definitely got slipstream here. He's not going to be able to do the overtake on this turn, but it's going to put him in a really strong position. And if he can just sit behind him.
Yeah, the later braking
for a few turns, a few turns, and then certainly you're going to have an overtaking opportunity. Probably going to that sweeping last corner of the turn is another good overtaking opportunity. But this race is really looking like it's just going to pan out the way that we're seeing it here outside a couple of fights between 3rd and 4th and 6th and 7th. I can't see these changing. Maybe a little bit of swapping over between Danilo and Koenig. I'm really sorry if I'm saying this wrong. I don't know how to say this guy. Koenig in Elsa. But it looks like more likely we're going to see action happening from Fadiva and Mirko. Mirko there's got himself a 1.2 second. Yeah, 1.2 seconds. So he's really going to have to try and either grind that down before the end. But we've also got to bear in mind that Fadiva here's got himself almost a 1 second penalty as well. So in terms of the person he's racing against,
it's going to be tight.
It is going to be tight as we now come around to the second to last lap for Fadiva now, as he's come up really, really close there. A bit of ghosting happening there and a little bit of contact due to the fact they expected to ghost a bit further, and he's going to have to concede the position and just sit on the outside of him. But he's definitely trying to reclaim his position as Mirko goes on the defence there, cuts through there. He's going to probably get a track penalty. Surely he's going to get a track penalty there. You can see there an extra half a second. Really overcut that corner there. Over defensive again, just like I was saying to you before, Paddy, concentrating more on what his opponent is doing as opposed to what he's doing. You generally find that you'll start pulling away from somebody if you're just concentrating on what you're doing. But it looks like Fadiva's gone on the attack there and has got the superior braking and has got the inside. So let's get back now as Mirko definitely has the exit speed on him, and is he going to be able to reclaim his position, or is Fadiva's going to be able to hold it? He's going to be able to hold it, but this is a very, very dangerous position for someone to be be right up your rear, because if you get on the slipstream coming through to the right hand sider, then it's going to be an overtaking opportunity coming up here again. So is Mirko going to try and reclaim his position? It looks like Fadiva's going for the defensive position on the inside. If I was Mirko, I'd go and sit on his slipstream and slip out just before the end. But it looks like maybe he's going to get rid of his penalty by the looks of it. but it looks like Alex has actually come out of nowhere. Where have you come from, Alex? You were not. Is it Alex? Sorry? It's Garu. Sorry, it's not Alex. It's Garu. Garu's come out of nowhere. He was not in this fight at all, but he's actually come out of nowhere. Mirko trying to get rid of his penalty has actually not realised how close Garu was behind him, and now is enveloped a whole new fight.
As you entered the final lap, it looks like 1 and 2 are right on top of each other.
You're absolutely right here. So we're gonna join these two in the final lap, and we'll drop back to that fight after this lap's over, because we're now in the final lap of the race now, and we've got Fab. Fab, good point, Paddy. How do I? Let's press H, and that should show us absolutely nothing. Fab doesn't have himself a penalty, so this is really interesting here. Looks like J212 has got himself a 1.2 second penalty, so he's gonna have to build up that gap if he hopes to win this race. And Fab might be taking this at the end, and if he does, he's definitely going to get my award for race. Racer of the race, is that a thing?
Driver of the day. I like racer of the race.
Racer of the race is better than
racer
driver
of the race is what we're going for.
Yeah, race of the race. If he gets this, he's going to go to Fab, because, like I said,
keep knocking that time down.
Look at this, 0.5. If I was him personally, I would not go for the overtake. I would not go for the overtake at all. I would sit behind him, make him paranoid as hell, make it really, really hard for him, and for him to
don't do anything to risk a penalty.
For him to develop a 1 point, to pull away a 1.2 second gap between now and the end of the lap is going to be a really hard thing for him to do. To gain a whole second on somebody with 3 corners is a very hard thing to do. So if I was Fab now, I definitely would not try this overtake. I would just sit in the nice position, which he looks like he's done. He's taken the superior line. Looks like J212 is... Oh, he's actually gone for the overtake, and he's got it here. Now, the risky move of this is it looks like this is where J212 could get the exit speed on him and actually could end up developing a gap in front, but it doesn't look he's going to. And it looks like Fab is going to win this race right at the very end there. Looks like J212 really had the hold of this race, and Fab really just pulled it out last lap there, wound down that gap, and has now claimed himself a first place finish. What a fantastic race there from Fab. But we're going to drop back now. We're going to drop back to this this race. It's no longer happening. It's now actually developed. It looks like Garu's had to back off, and Mirko's managed to hold on to his 7th position. And we're going to watch people come in now. So Donald and Danilo are coming down now to finish their race. So they're claiming their positions now. And Donald now just claiming his 5th position. And Fadiva is going to look like he's going to get 6th. Mirko is going to get 7th. Garo might be able to pull up, but it's going to have to be some sort of miracle spin out from Mirko to concede that position. And it looks like Alex is going to come swinging round into 9th place. And finally, Alessio still our boy. Hero. 156 minutes behind the race leader. But he's, say what you will about his position, and he's still racing, man.
He's still out there.
Yeah, man. He's he's trooping, man. That's the number one thing. Don't stop. Man. You could be number of times I've been in last place, and you just keep going, man. Anything, you've still got yourself 16 laps where he's probably much better on this track now than what he started. So it looks like there that it's Fab that's left the room. Our race winner. So technically he won, but the results are not going to show that. It's going to show J212 winning, and it's going to push everyone up one. But that's just purely because he's left. But it's definitely going to be a race win there for Fab. But we're now just got this last person on the track now. He's got they've forwarded plenty. It looks like in the options they've given plenty of people time to finish the race, so it looks like it's a team that opens everyone up, lets everyone in with open arms. But he's coming down now, and he's going to finish off.
As you're Italian, you're welcome here.
That's it. I'm not welcome. I'm too English, but that's totally fine. It's just been nice to commentate over a race, and it's been interesting actually. I would like to think that perhaps if I was placed in that race, I probably would have been somewhere in the middle. Maybe I know it depends, because I've never driven that car before, but I know I can get that lap pretty well, so might be able to get there. But it's going to give J212 the actual victory, but we know that's not the case. It was Fab who won that race. He just seemed to drop out of the lobby just beforehand. But that is it for the race. It was really interesting to sort of try and view a race from over the top, from a top down point of view. But no, it was a really, really interesting race. A lot more aggressive in certain places than I thought it would be. I thought definitely a lot of people would be a lot more respectful. But at the same time, this series must be quite important for them, and I know this series they're doing to eventually know who they're going to submit for the race team when they come round to do their official racing season, which I don't know what that is. I should have researched it beforehand, but I didn't. But that's totally fine. But what a fantastic race, and super congratulations to Fab, who come away with the winner, and also J212 also put in a fantastic race as well. It was just a bit of a shame he didn't come away with the win there. But yeah, that has been a really, really good race. But I think I am going to call it the end of the stream there. We may do this again, depends if they want us back or not. I have no idea. If we're invited back, we might come back and do this again and follow this series, just see if we can learn a few things and perhaps just watch how other people do it. It's really interesting watching the races I do and sort of breaking up my own sort of approach and the way I do things. But sometimes it is interesting to see other people and how they do things, and hopefully we can learn a thing or two and take that into our races when we start going back into FIAs and stuff like that. But that is it for today's stream. Quite a short one. I appreciate people who stuck with us through the challenges at the start. But thank you very much for everyone who's joined in and watched. I've been ArbieG. If you've enjoyed these sort of videos, I do a lot of commentary and all this kind of stuff. Feel free to drop us a subscription. I'm really, really small, so it would just be nice to know there's a few people there that can possibly watch a video or so. But I've been me. And Paddy, do you want to just say goodbye to the lovely people? You've been a beautiful, beautiful person who's kept me company through this experience.
An absolute pleasure, Rob. Thank you very much. Vroom vroom.
Vroom vroom indeed. But thank you everyone for watching. I've been me, you've been you, he's been him, and we will talk to you guys really soon. All right. Cheers. Bye. Bye.